morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am your host, Data T, and this is my channel, The Good Guys. Guys, today's story comes out of Memphis, Tennessee, and the title reads, Neighbors at Whitehaven Apartments fed up after police say man was shot and killed. We're going to get into this story, but before we do, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, leaving a comment, okay, subscribe. Remember, we're still on the road to 1,000 subscribers, guys, okay? Channel's growing. We'll be hitting 200 soon, and I appreciate it. I really do. We can only get there with your help, okay? Guys can always hit me on Minds, on Twitter, and even on TruthSocial and various other platforms, okay? So let us dive into this story. Let us begin.
People who live in the Whitehaven apartment complex tell Fox 13 that they are fed up after an early morning homicide investigation in their community. Memphis police say that officers found a man shot to death in one of the units at New Horizon Apartments. This man has been detained. Now, witnesses who live in this complex, as well as multiple sources who are close to the investigation, tell Fox 13 that the man who died broke into a unit and the tenant took matters into his own hands. Fox 13's Jeremy Pierre explains why people who live at New Horizon say that the violence is just too much to handle.
5 o'clock this morning, we heard gunshots, and I'm nosy. Yes, I am, and I was up and went to go and see.
Edwina Butcher says the gunshots and flashing blue lights kept her from having a peaceful rest this morning. But she says the peaceful rest is rare with the ongoing violence that occurs in New Horizon Apartments.
Now, every other day is something going on out here in these apartments.
A search of police records show dozens of crime calls at and around the complex since the start of the year, many for assault, drugs, and theft. This morning, Memphis police spent hours at the complex investigating a homicide in one of the units. MPD says officers got the call around 5 this morning and found the body of a man with gunshots. Officers detained a man on the scene. Neighbor Edwina Butcher says the man who police detained lives in the unit and protected himself and a family member from a break-in. My law enforcement sources confirmed that as well.
It was a man breaking into the apartment where the grandmama was.
Okay, so we have this, right? A normal case of home invasion where a person has to use their firearm in self-defense. Now, I want to come at this from a different point of view, meaning if you live in a place such as this, why not leave? And I got to tell you, this is something that probably is going to be pretty nasty, but I'm going to tell you something. If I realize that my neighborhood, okay, is going to shit, I am going to have to do one or two things. I'm either going to have to fight back. If I can't fight back, then I'll leave. And I know that sounds terrible because I remember this was, this is just a reference, guys. It's not endorsing him or nothing, but I watch a little bit of Tim Pool, and I remember his time where he talked about where he went from New York, he went to Philly, and somehow he ended up in West Virginia. But each time he realized the crime was getting too bad, and he left every single time. And somebody will ask at one point, well, at what point are you going to fight back? And I think that sometimes this is what needs to happen. When are people going to fight back? When are people going to say, you know what? I've had enough of this. We're going to do something about it. But see, it is extremely hard to do that on your own. And you can't do it by yourself. Okay? Now, if you organize, then that's different. And I think it's something that, neighborhoods are going to have to discuss, because that means that almost any neighborhood can go to crap. I mean, if you don't police it yourself, I would think you would have to, let's say you first move in, your place is nice, you realize it's nice, you realize you lived in a nice neighborhood, talk to the neighbors, you realize they're pretty nice, and then at some point you may have to say to them, hey, I'd like to have a gathering, and so that, our neighborhood doesn't go to crap. I moved from one neighborhood to another, and now I'm going to make this my place, my home, and I want to fight for it. I'm thinking about doing that. I mean, as soon as I get home, I think I'm going to have to really take charge of that, because I don't want to move again. And I know a lot of you think that way too. So let's hear the rest of this story, guys. I know that's a tangent. It's a little bit different, but I just wanted to talk about it. Let's see. You let me know what you guys think. Let's hear the rest of the video.
Was at home and her grandson or either son retaliated.
Butcher says even with armed security roaming the complex, her safety is still in question.
They're not doing their job. They have their picks. They let who they want to let in.
Butcher says she's tired of the sleepless nights and ongoing problems with crime and violence in the place she's supposed to call home.
It's not safe out here. They need to shut it down just like they did the pepper tree.
In Whitehaven, Jeremy Pierre, Fox 13.
Well, you have it there, guys. At least this woman out there, she's highlighting it and telling you what is going on, and she has no problem being nosy, and that's good too, being a good neighbor. Home breaking is always tough, and it doesn't just rattle just the person that's living there. Oh, it didn't happen to me. No. Happened to the community. And what from this video we gather is that it has happened more than once. And it's clearly, probably, guys, this is just me assuming, it may be a low income housing project. Typically apartments are that way. You don't see affluent people living in apartments, guys. They usually don't do that unless it's some upscale condo area. But man, I mean, this is something that always I see in the poorest of neighborhoods, and happening in these spots of poverty. And what we always usually see, and I don't have a problem saying it, it's usually African Americans. It's usually black people, period. And I get sick of seeing this. And that's why, boss man, I'm going to tell you, honestly, when I get to my new spot, if I'm scoping it out now, I'm scoping out all the neighbors. If I see too many black people, we're not moving here yet. Okay, I know that sounds bad. I know it does. Unless, and part of that is very racist on my part. I think everybody has a little bit of racism, okay? And just because, and I think, definitely the prudent thing to do would be to go and talk to those people, right? To see where they're coming from, to see, they could be good people. They really could be. But folks, I'm telling you, I get to a neighborhood, I see too many black people hanging outside, strike one. When I see these people riding up and down the street with bikes and four-wheelers and doing all this crazy nonsense, strike number two. And if I see them out there, if I see too many black people congregated and the police are up and there left and right, no, we not living there, fam. And all of my peoples is not moving there. And we not about to visit your neighborhood. And to hell with your neighborhood. I'm not coming to help you. Even if I'm supposed to be the guard there, even if I'm supposed to be some kind of police officer, we not coming there. Because we know what goes on. It's a hellhole. We'll come there after the shooting. Right? That's what usually happens. It's very sad. It really is. But guys, there are good people everywhere. But, good people in this case, I'm telling you, you would probably have to move. You really would. And kudos to the man who shot this guy who came into his apartment trying to interrupt his peace. He is the good guy. This lady here is the good guy. And what would we do if we didn't have good men or women? I say this all the time, and I'll say this in closing. Good people have guns. Good people should always have guns. And if good men do nothing, there will be no good guys.